Mhm. Get all this figured out. All right. Looks like everyone's on here. So how we will do this, do you have to allow video for everyone? So I will get to questions. How I'm planning to do this, because right now I think we got like, there's 15 people. There's like over 20 registered for it. So what I'm going to be, my plan is I kind of go over what we're doing on my department, which I'm pretty happy with, the things that are going on. And then what I can do is I can take all the attendees and I can promote you guys to. I'm going to change the view here for myself. I can actually promote you guys to panelists. So that means that you'll be on the call just like I am, and we can interact more. But otherwise, it would be kind of a challenge to have this many people. You know, I've done some meetings in the past where everyone's got a video and everyone's sounds on, and we're just talking all over each other. The background noise. So, Buddha, what's up, my friend? Glad you're able to make it on here. Phil, what's going on? So, hey, if any of you that want to get on video, maybe some guys are self-conscious about, don't want to be on, that's fine. The whole point of this, I just want to share what's going on. I want to have a little bit more fun. That's why I said beers with John on my Kelly day. I'm sticking with just beer. I talked to a buddy earlier. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have some whiskey." I'm like, "Well, I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old right now, so I'm not trying to be unconscious by the time the wife comes home. I figure with beer, will be all right." So the whole COVID thing, guys, everyone's kind of cautious. Some are maybe too much worry, too much worked out, whatever it is. We got to take it seriously because it is an illness that can affect people. You know, if you're watching this and you're on the job, what we've been learning, at least by us, is we're actually putting other people more at risk, especially older population. I don't know how your guys' demographics or city is. Now I work for a city. We are a small city, but still the city demographics. We do have pockets of older people though. So me showing up in there, there's a good chance I could be spreading to them. So we're doing a pretty good job, at least in my firehouse. We decon our apparatus every morning. We decon the station. We don't wear our duty boots inside the station. We actually, so our directive has been from our chiefs, we're actually wearing N95 masks on any call we go on. That is a medical call. If it's a lift assist, we're trying to send only 2 people in with surgical masks to kind of protect the people, because they're not calling us because they're sick. They're calling us because they just need help up. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're reusing the M95s unless it is a documented, unless it's like a COVID scare, like, hey, this guy's got COVID or it's suspected, then trashing it. But if it's, we had a cardiac arrest my last shift, none of us wore it because it wasn't clear at that point that's what we were doing. But something like that, we'd probably wear it and reuse it unless you got some type of patient goo on you, as it can happen sometimes. But so that's what we're doing. Our chief's actually utilizing Zoom, and about every 3 to 5 days is having a Zoom call, which is great. Of course, us being firemen, there's some guys that get on there that you're just kind of like hit your head against the wall going, really, guys, come on, you're grown men, we're professionals, this is how you're acting right now. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that, because I think all fire departments have a lot of similar personalities going on it. But he's staying us informed. We're getting constant emails to stay up to date on what's going on. But it was also a good resource, which is our union, IFFF. Got good resources there. I've been using the NFORS exposure management. I haven't logged anything there yet. Last year I logged, fires, traumatic events, stuff like that. But you can also use it as a resource. I share that in a Facebook group for my department that we have set up to kind of just let guys know hey, because that's what everyone's saying, oh, what do we track it with and department stuff. I use this app that has been put together for us, and this way I can go back, and the whole point is showing that, hey, this happened at some point in my career, documenting it, because let's face it, you can send all your information to you can the best HR in the world. Stuff might get lost, right? We have to take care of ourselves with that. So do your due diligence with it, right? I even fill out our own department forms, but I keep them. Guys think they're going to send it to Superman and it gets solved. No, just keep it as a record for yourself. Look after yourself. But what's great is our union's got some stuff put together. There's information come out from them, and hopefully your departments are doing stuff. But we're all different with stuff. So anybody who wants to jump on the call, raise a hand, type in the chat. I got all the screens up, so hopefully I won't miss you. But I'll just kind of go down the line of who's interested. I'll pull you on the call with me, chat what's going on. As my kids cheers, we'll cheers to beers. My kids don't cheers to beers, but my son, he'll say cheers. And he's got his like lollipop and do it with my daughter. It's kind of funny watching because obviously home a lot right now. If I'm on the station, I'm pretty much home. I was able to get out in the water the other day. But when the wife's at work, I haven't been doing that. So Chris, Chris, I saw your hand go up. I've just promoted you. I think you can, you got to allow it or say you can share your video, or maybe I can do something on my end. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Unmute.
Hello.
You're there.
Can you hear me? We're good? All right. I think this is up. There we go.
You got the setup going on there.
Yeah, I do a little bit of podcasting on the side, so I can't complain.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's crazy to see what other places are doing right now for COVID stuff. We kind of have like plan A, plan B, plan C. We're a very small department, so it's interesting to see what other places are doing, and just kind of excited to listen.
Cheers. I thought you were reaching for a beer before.
I did. Yep. I got a little Sam 76. So
there you go.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, a lot of our EMS calls and stuff we're doing, we're kind of vetting, lift assist and stuff like that. Anything it caught, when we get dispatched. I think yesterday we had 8 EMS calls. We wore a mask on 4 of them. So we're trying to not necessarily wear them on everything, but where somebody's sick or got a cold. So that's what we've been doing.
Being cautious with it. Well, another thing I actually just popped in my head is we are not running COVID calls unless they're Delta Echo level. I don't know if your departments categorize them, but below priority, we're not even going. EMS, we don't transport in my department, so EMS is a county entity. They handle it. So that was huge that, they're just trying to limit the amount of people that are getting contact.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, unfortunately we're a very small department, so we don't get the luxury of the Alpha Bravo Charlie Deltas. So we just kind of have to vet it ourselves as a crew, as a shift captain. It's kind of, we just help each other out, and we haven't been sending 3 on a lot of calls. If we do get a true COVID call, we send 1 in and try to walk the patient out and try to isolate ourselves in an ambulance. We have 1 in, 1 out.
And we have had a positive COVID.
We have not had any positives. We've had a couple of people get tested, but nothing where it's positive. So, but okay. Like yesterday, we had one, unfortunately the patient was just a little bit too unstable. So we had to use 2 of us. But in the end, it was a negative. So it was a plus for us, but we took what precautions we could for that situation.
Nice. Well, very cool. I'm going to start bringing some other people on here.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll see what's going on and drink to that, my friend. Wrong one. Attendee. All right, bear with me. Technology's. Phil, I hope that's a better video than the photo.
Yeah, it is. All right, now we're good. Yeah. So, what's up?
What's going on, man?
You're like down at what, sunny Pensacola?
No, further south. I'm in Cape Coral, so.
Okay. Either way, you got sun, sand, and like water, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was in the pool earlier with my daughter.
Okay, so I call it Sergeant Bluff, so Sioux City, Iowa area, pretty much like the middle of the country, about as best you can. So if you look on the map, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Sioux City and Iowa all come together in a point right here. So like South Sioux is in Nebraska, North Sioux City is South Dakota, and then Sioux City proper and Metro is in Iowa. So me and a 14-year-old here, we're just out in the shred shed getting some workout in and stuff, keeping the kids mobile. I don't know what you guys are doing for our schools. Our schools shut down. Let's see, two weeks ago. Monday they started online learning. So to give the kids, we gave them last week. I gave my kids the week off, 12 hours a day. It's just being kids, having fun, just weathering out the situation. This week we're getting more structured. So we're, morning time is classwork, get our schoolwork done and stuff. And then afternoon, we all got to get some moving and get some exercise and stuff. Fortunately, I got a lot of equipment here and stuff, so it's easier with all the gyms and stuff being closed. But as far as department-wide goes, we've been dealing. So Iowa's got confirmed right now. We're just about 150 confirmed cases in Iowa. We have had our first COVID, actual COVID-related death. Our area, we've had 2 confirmed cases in our county. Unknown where the location is at this point. They haven't released that. One is they have said Lamar's, so Wells Blue Bunny is Plymouth County, so it's just to the north, about 30 minutes to the north of us. So our response, we are now a dual. We have a fire division, EMS division. So we have medic units housed in the firehouse. So we are transport. The medic units are the ones that do the transport and not so much the fire side, although we can if needs be. The way we've been running calls right now is comm center, our dispatch center has extra questions. So any trouble breathing or any sick patient call, which seems like it's everybody at this point, gets flagged, and then comm center asks extra questions. So they're looking for fever, body aches, cough, how long it's been, if you traveled, contact with people, contact with a known COVID patient. And they'll relay that information to us, whether it's a positive or negative screening. If we don't hear that prior to making patient contact, we're actually supposed to just wait a minute, hang out, get that information first. Every single patient we go on, no matter what, we had a gal fell down in the kitchen, possibly busted her hip. She got a dust. We're doing just the dust masks, just the surgical masks on every single patient. As far as our people, at this point, if it's something we can determine that it's a negative screening, this is, again, some lady fell down, busted her hip. She's not sick. We're just doing that extra precaution for everybody, or like a lift assist or something like that. We're not putting on necessarily N95s for ourselves. Everybody's got gloves. Everybody's got glasses on. If we do have a positive screening, then things do change. We did have an episode at about 4:30 in the morning, my last duty shift, where we had possible positive, 10-7, so it's a deceased person. So at that point, then it's the full PPE. So it's we're going in with Tyvek, goggles with an actual gasket around it, boot covers, the works, sending one person in, minimal equipment, survey the scene, evaluate the situation. On a live person, we get a set of vitals. We're going to actually start telemedicine in our area. So we're going to have basically an iPad in a case that's fully decountable. Go in, both hospitals are going to have doctors available that will essentially FaceTime with the doctors. So the doctors can evaluate that patient at that time and say, yeah, you need to come in and you're going to transport. Or you're not going to transport, we're going to shelter you in place and just keep contact. We do have, for transport of a positive COVID screening that needs to be transported non-emergent, we have an isolation ambulance that we'll call for. So that will come to the scene. The person that made contact, the only person, hopefully at this time we still have only one person that's made contact. That person will maintain contact and patient care throughout the call all the way to the hospital. They'll be the only ones in the back of the ambulance with the patient. That ambulance is set up to be with minimal equipment, easy to decon in the back. If it is an emergent patient, because this is whether it's a code or somebody that has to be transported emergent, then we will have to suit up more people, use the ambulance that's on scene, but again, try to minimize patient contact as much as possible, but at the same time, somebody's life is somebody's life, and we have to do what's needed. But if we can protect ourselves, again, it's more droplet protection. So, you know, if the patient's face is covered, if they're masked, if they're not coughing droplets out, that's 95% of our thing there. And if we put an N95 on ourselves, and if our eyes are covered and anywhere we could get in droplets, we should be protected ourselves too. So our chance of an exposure with increased PPE and just good practices are pretty minimal. But, you know, we're doing daily briefings via Skype. Actually, team meetings now every morning, 08:15. Every shift gets a briefing. They're lasting anywhere from, I think last day was our shortest one, was only 20 minutes, but they're typically lasting close to 45 minutes to an hour every day, giving us the needed information. Within my firehouse, my people, I've said now that as a lieutenant on my shift and stuff, I said, okay, no channels. 8 to 4:30, there's no news channels on. You're allowed to watch cartoons, old-time movies, or funny cat videos. If the TV's on in the background, that's it. We only want good news and happy thoughts. We get the information we need from our daily briefings, or emails after 4:30. You know, it's their time. But we're kind of, you know, everybody's staying positive. We are doing something I saw you guys doing, and on our union is the guys at 1s and 3s, which is a double company house. We're trying to start to order local for dinner every night and stuff, and support our local business to get delivery and stuff. So we started doing that as well. So you know, we're maintaining. We're just, you know, we're doing what we needed, and you know, we're going to go get through it. Everybody at home. My wife, she actually works at UPS, so she's got a different animal there. She works in the office down there, so she's not directly handling packages. However, these package drivers that go out in tri-state area come in our office and in and out and stuff. So she gets a lot of possibly secondary exposures that way. So they're working in their office to limit the exposures there and try to work on. But at the same time, the UPS, I hope when this comes out, I know they love to say firefighters, first responders, nurses, you know, all of us on the front lines in the face of this thing, that, you know, we're doing our jobs appreciated. But I tell you what, you know, let's hope that these unsung heroes, the UPS guy, the FedEx guy, Postal Service guy, you know, these are the people that are still delivering stuff. They're still going door to door. They're getting exposures for packages. You know, CDC's even come out and said that the virus can live on packages for 24 hours on cardboard. So hopefully, you know, delivering essential services, medications to people that can't get out, goods that people can't go to the stores and find anymore, and you got to order them online. So hopefully they become like kind of the unsung heroes of this whole thing to keep commerce and keep stuff coming. So that's kind of what we got going on. We're gonna, you know, finish getting our gains on and stuff, and then I'm gonna probably toss down a couple cold ones and stuff. It's not sunny here; it's cloudy, but it is like 50 degrees and blowing about 20 miles an hour. So it is a nice day for Ohio.
I'm having a panic attack now because I just had UPS and Amazon drop off like 5 packages. I'm just thinking about like just going to spray down with bleach right now. So thanks.
Yeah.
Add to your movies to watch that Bert Kreischer "Hey Big Boy" special on Netflix.
Yeah.
My kids didn't understand it, and if my wife finds out I let them watch it, she's probably gonna be so mad at me. But it was hilarious, and there's another special on Netflix. They got some good ones.
Yeah.
But hey, thanks, Phil. Sounds like you guys are doing good stuff. Keep the guys kind of focus on the right stuff. It's really easy to go down that rabbit hole of all the crap going on. But we're gonna jump on and talk with Ben here real quick. Thanks, Phil.
All right, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
No,
Wrong one. All right. Attendee. Buddha.
all right. Let me
You're
turn.
sideways. Hang on a second. I gotta check on my kid.
Yeah. It's weird hearing him say that.
All right. No kidding. So if you guys don't know, Ben and I used to work together like 18 years ago up in Frankfort, Illinois.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Yes.
Right now? What station? You saw it?
I'm at 3.
7.
Station 3, 73 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they changed those around a little bit. Obviously, I'm on duty, so the best I can do is
I'm not.
diet green tea. But no, we've been doing a lot of what the gentleman said a little bit earlier. Don't make me say it. I'm not going to say it.
I know, right? Hey, are we in truth time? I think, Ben, you and Kelch were part ones that might have gotten me beers when I was only 20. Just saying, they would hide me in the corner at the bar. There's like one bar in town, and that's how I got it until everyone looked at me like, really? You look like you're 12.
Until Kelch started the bar fight that night.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we're not doing anything too much dissimilar to what the gentleman said a few minutes earlier. We have a daily at 4:00. We have our daily briefing, because that's usually after the governor comes out, because he's been doing a daily briefing also. So the governor will come out and give his take on everything. It goes. We get our stuff through IDPH, and then similar ways. And then at 4:00 we have our daily meeting, and it's all through the Zoom, just like we're doing here.
Yeah.
Same system, same everything, and it's for on duty and off duty guys. The off duty guys tie in on it, and like yesterday I was sitting at home having. We're all kind of in the same boat with this, but the only thing that I would say that some of our guys have had, because unfortunately being in a suburb of Chicago, you're going to see the population, because of people, they're carrying it down. It's getting down here. As a matter of fact, one of our ambulances is on a call right now that sounds like a COVID job. The dispatchers screen, and then they come out and say, they try not to say COVID. Some of them do, but they say droplet precautions is the term that they use. So if you can, the first guy will go in, mask up, gown up. He'll go in, and if the patient can walk, if the patient, let's get them out of that environment into our environment. So they'll bring them out. I guess I have to give you the dynamics. Yes, I am a lieutenant, but we are we have a 3-man company. It's a jump company. So it's either 3 guys on the ambulance or 3 guys on the engine. There's no in between. So with that dynamic, one guy tries not to touch the patient. Usually whoever is going to be the driver of the day of the bone box. Driver usually doesn't touch the patient, doesn't do any patient care. Basically, your job is to drive. So the one guy will go in, masked up, gowned up, see if we can get the other guy outside while the rest of the crew is putting their masks on and getting ready. We'll get him on the cot, get him in the ambulance, shut the window for the driver, and that's what we've been doing as far as trying to limit as much exposure as we can limit. Unfortunately, I think we've only had 1 or 2 actual confirmed, but they have what they call PUI, person under investigation or under interest, or I forgot exactly what the term is, but they've got the local hospital that we transport to. I want to say it was like 32 PUIs and like 8 actual confirmed. So numbers, I could be wrong, but I'm just giving you the basics. They were fairly low numbers for actual confirmed, but you got to be cautious. There's nothing that we're doing that is out of line in any of this. So, but I was interested to hear what some of the other departments were doing, and I actually, I don't know if my chief was on here or not. I sent him the link to the message because he's really been hands-on with all of us as far as making sure that we've got what we need, and our chiefs have been excellent about making sure that if you're doing something on your shift, if you picked out something, like for example that where we sent the one guy in, he said, okay, you can walk, come on outside. That was one of our first exposure calls, and it seemed to really work for them, and it seemed to go well. So we're kind of feeding off each other, and that's why I think this was a good call for you to put this out there.
Yeah, I just saw everyone's doing something different, but I think it sounds like a lot of us are doing the right stuff. It's just maybe I'll pick something up like, oh, that's smart. What you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So sorry, you guys are still jump companies. I remember those days.
You know what, dude? Honestly, the till the call volume goes up, you have to justify having that manpower. You know, it's just the way it is. But green tea, man.
Dude, this beer's going
What are you
down
gonna do?
good. I'm telling you right now.
It looks delicious. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't had a beer in 3 years, so I just stopped drinking beer. It's carbonated.
Oh, you still drink though?
Yeah. Oh, I still drink, just not beer. But I miss beer.
It's tasty.
But Jameson's good. If you're gonna do something, Jameson's the way to go.
Yeah, that Jameson Black. Our Sam's Club's got it. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good.
That's good. And then what I had yesterday for the first time was that if you like coffee, the Jameson Cold Brew.
Oh, I don't think I've had that. I'll look into that.
Yeah, it tastes like coffee with an attitude. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna add that to my list. All right, Buddha. I'm gonna
buddy.
go in here. It's good talking to you, buddy.
All right, pal.
All right.
Stay safe.
You too, buddy.
Brother.
Chief.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
I saw the name
Hold
pop up here. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since the Battalion series, I've been a big fan of Harrisburg. I was like, "Where is this place? This is hang on. Their chief just said what? I like that."
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place to work. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Talked here and there with Brian Yonkin.
Yeah.
And so every now and then I got questions. Like I'll see something on social media and I'll hit him up and he explains stuff. And it seems like a real fun place to work.
He just got promoted to lieutenant and actually got assigned to my shift. So he's actually in my station with me now.
Oh, I swear.
Awesome.
He said nothing but positive. He didn't say anything about the thing he did that one time.
Right.
Yeah, he was explaining, I think they put their riding assignments up. And I asked him, I said, hey, the ladder assignment was different. And I go, it was 3 firefighters on the engine, I think, and a lieutenant and 2 firefighters on the truck. And he goes,
yeah. So right now we have 2 engine companies that do not have an officer. So it's a driver, the front seat rider, and the back seat rider. And then we have 1 engine company, which is our rescue also, and they have a lieutenant. And then our 2 truck companies have a company officer and then up to 4 personnel. Like, so it's complicated because you got to move people around based on the staffing, but generally our trucks have 4 and our engines have 3. That's
okay.
And then,
hey, we've got an engineer and a firefighter on our ladder truck. So yeah. I've learned it. I always find it interesting how different places are staffing and set up. Like I was talking to Ben, and that's where I started was Frankfurt, and we were jump companies then. Where I came to now, we're not, and it's awesome, but you got to make it work because our districts, our first in area, our cities dictate how we're gonna be staffed. If it's low income, we're scraping by. The high income places probably got staffed out the wazoo sometimes. So
yeah, it's interesting how you get used to it though. Like when we're fully staffed, it seems like we have people that are there, and then you have a fire and you're like, man, where all these people come from? Like, get these guys out of the room. But then on other days we're like, man, we need 5 more people and this would be going awesome. So we're just kind of right in between there.
You guys are subsidized by your volunteer staff?
So the city does have volunteer stations. We do not draw we might have like 1 guy ride along occasionally. Like we don't really have it is a combination system, but it's not like what most people would expect it to be. We have a handful of guys that will come out and ride occasionally. However, we're surrounded by volunteer departments. So when we go to a second alarm, we'll get recall of our off-duty personnel up to a certain point. And then immediately when we have a fire, we'll fill our stations with the surrounding volunteer companies, and then they'll come in on second alarm, and then we'll refill the stations that way. So the only other career department around us is the Army depot, and they run a heavy rescue, and they actually function as our RIT team.
Oh, okay. Now, are you guys getting affected by any of this? Do you guys run every medical call, or is it like only tiered response?
So we basically have a third service in the city that runs EMS, and it's a combination of a what was a private company, and then is kind of bought out by the hospital system. It's a hybrid EMS system, but they handle all primary EMS. We cover AED calls, and then mutual aid, priority 1 calls, and then anytime they call us in addition to that. So we don't run a true first response system.
I'm going to drink to that. Good for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's for sure.
We've only stopped like real low level medical calls, but we start running all of them. The same thing. It's a separate entity that runs the transport for us, but it's something after a while you're just give me the fires,
Yeah. It's I'm not going to complain about where we're at as far as that's concerned. Right now we have 4 cases in our county, and we've been lucky, knock on wood. We're really still ramping up our procedures and how we're operating. We have a good partnership with our EMS systems and the hospitals, and we have a plan in place for how we're going to escalate through this. We do certainly see a surge in cases coming, and there's a pretty robust plan at this point that's in place that quite honestly is changing every day based on additional information, resources that we have available to us. For being a large city in Pennsylvania, I think we're doing pretty good compared to what they're seeing in the Pittsburgh area, and certainly in Eastern Pennsylvania down to Philadelphia. I know my parents live in the east part of the state, and their county just went on non-essential travel lockdown. So we probably have about 10 counties in the state that are at that level, and so far we're not one of them. Our region has done pretty good, although the cases are starting to, you're seeing the uptick.
Well, that was something when they talked about the curve is it's still almost the same amount of people are going to get affected, but it's going to be spread out to where the hospital systems aren't going to be as overloaded as they were in Italy per se. I got family in the Vicenza area, which is outside Venice, Italy, and I was kind of reaching out to them because we're all the same age. I visited them 10 years ago or something like that, and that's what they were saying is not only is the older population there, but it was just people still aren't listening and going out when they can, and it just overran everything that they had going on.
Yeah, we've seen. I mean, you drive through the city right now, and you can see a difference. It's like the other day I said it looks like every day is like Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit less traffic, and people are, for the most part, heeding what they're saying. We still have a lot of people out and about doing, I'm not exactly sure what, but
you're always going to, well, we deal with hurricanes down here, and anytime we give a warning to people, they're like, I've been here for 50 years and I haven't moved, and I'm like, hey man, okay, just understand, we're leaving our station because it's going to flood. We're out. Right. And of course, the last hurricane that came through here, there was no issues. So of course those people aren't going to believe us. People get complacent. Think about our job. How many firemen get complacent, right? Normally the ones that aren't, because guess what? Something went sideways for us early in our career, and they're like, man, I really need to get better at this and plan for stuff.
Yeah. Usually you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things. I noticed I got packages dropped off today, which I'm still freaking out from what Phil said. I got to go spray them down or something like that. But I was like, you're good, because I was outside working in the garage trying to pick stuff up. He's like, I'll leave it here. I said, all right, as long as you're good. I just in that habit of trying to help them out when I see them. But
yeah, my parents, the mail system in their area had some people that were infected, so they're actually telling them they should retrieve their mail like with a plastic bag or gloves, and then leave it in the garage overnight at least. Don't actually interact with it until they, for a period of time. So,
it's smart. I'm probably going to put my packages right back outside, figure something out.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming on here.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for doing this.
Nice chatting real quick. Vinny.
Hey, John. How are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
How many whiskeys you got in you already?
No whiskey. Working from home.
That's iced tea.
Working from home. So I did clock out at 3 p.m. to get on this. And I went with the Near Beer Ultra.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I work for a small, as you know, John, I work for a smaller department here in the same county that you work in, here in Lee County, down in Southwest Florida. We are one of only 2 fire-based transport agencies in our county. So we kind of use the same medical director as the county EMS that are coming out daily from the medical director. A lot of the stuff we're doing, being a transport agency, is the same that the other participants have talked about. We're making sure that exposing as few people as minimum to these possible suspected patients. Really trying to conserve the PPE because there, as we all know, there's a shortage of it nationwide. But luckily for us, the guys have been real careful. They've heeded every directive we put out to them. The importance is their safety, of course. And, knock on wood, none of the patients we've transported have popped positive. So, a lot of the guys don't know me on your site here, John, but John and I worked together for years at the city of Fort Myers. And then I took an early retirement and went to another department to take on the role of the training chief. A lot of the talk is, especially here in Florida, is about exposure and how do we treat the guys. And there's a lot of different ways that organizations are going about it. But ultimately, the goal from any administrator is you take care of the guys and make sure that they understand. Use the PPE, document the calls you're on. Can't stress that enough. What John mentioned there with the NFORS app and the firefighter self exposure apps that are out and about. I know we talked about that a couple of years ago at the city, that when we first introduced NFORS, that this was there for us. But taking advantage of those apps that are out there from whatever third-party vendor or perhaps one of the programs your department provides. History will tell you throughout your department that paperwork gets lost, especially back in the day before we went electronic. Paperwork gets lost. So do that due diligence and self-document all your exposures, whether they're medical, fire, or any other sort of exposures you're getting. But everyone's doing a lot of the same stuff.
Did you happen to know much about the Vox units?
So here in Lee County, because ultimately the county does have responsibility for EMS, and they are a much larger agency. They created these basically chase units. There's 4 or 5 throughout the county, and they have it's not an aeroclave. If anyone's familiar with those, it's basically a disinfecting system. And when our ambulances are dispatched on one of these suspected patients, we of course the dispatch automatically notifies Lee County EMS. They get one of those units on the way to the receiving hospital. First thing they do is disinfect the firefighter, paramedic that was with the patient. Anyone that was with the patient gets disinfected using the machine. And then they plug it in, they throw this machine in the back of the ambulance, they lock it up, and it goes for 10 minutes and disinfects everything that could possibly be exposed, including, such things as all the wires on the life packs and all that. It's a hydrogen peroxide based disinfectant. So they're not using a bleach based or a alcohol based disinfectant on it.
Now, have you seen the Aeroclave? This is the first I've heard of it. Was like a week ago. My understanding, it's a machine, and it puts out something in the air, and it basically sanitizes whatever is in the room.
So we had looked at those at the city before with your current training chief, and he wanted them because he felt it was important from the health and safety aspect to have one of these machines. And basically, it's very similar to what they do for surgical instruments, doing an autoclave. They go in and it puts out that disinfecting substance, whatever it is. And I'm not a chemist. I don't actually know what they're using. But one of our local departments actually had 5 of them that they said were out for use for any of the fire departments to request.
Oh, wow.
So people may have been taking advantage of that. But, as usual with the fire service, we all work together. We all come together. We're a mutual aid and all that, and take advantage of sure that, ultimately making sure all the guys are safe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Vinny.
Sure, no problem, John. Thanks for doing this, man. Nice.
Hey, I get to talk with adults instead of wrestling my children.
4-year-old, right?
Or watching YouTube and all that fun stuff. But I'm sure everyone's in the same boat with it. But I also figured, hey, it's a good time to interact and see what other places are doing. If we can all learn something, awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Thanks
very much, and I'll text you later.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, buddy. Mr. Anderson.
How's it going? It's good to see you.
Man.
Yeah.
So,
surviving like everybody else.
Worked together back in Frankfurt. He has moved on to another department in the suburbs of Chicago since then. Good to see you on here. A year ago, 2 years ago, you made lieutenant?
Yeah, I got promoted in January of 2018. So, yeah, I'm entering my 3rd year right now.
Nice. Is all this kind of in line with what you guys? I know you guys transport.
Yeah, we're following a lot of the precautions that everybody else is too. Anything that's recommended by CDC and for us here in Illinois Department of Public Health, the recommendations that they're putting out too. So we're getting advised by dispatch. They're supposed to be asking the 6 questions. Have you been out of the country? Have you been in contact with anybody that has cough, fever? Any of the symptoms of coronavirus? They've been pretty good about relaying that information to us and either giving us the thumbs up or the thumbs down for droplet protection. We advise the hospital of that prior to or during transport, so they know. Luckily for us, we have not had any live cases yet in my district. The neighboring districts have had a couple. There have been some exposures of paramedics in the area, so we're just waiting to see how those go. So really, it's just I think we're kind of in the same boat with everybody else. We're just doing our best to be proactive with it. We're slowly getting the PPE in that we need. We had some to begin with, but like everybody else too, I think we're just in the waiting boat, waiting for the counties to release the PPE stocks and get those out to everybody too. But it's probably going to start getting busier here soon. I think everybody's doing a pretty good job of sheltering in place right now and just staying indoors. I mean, the hospitals they're busy, but they're not crazy busy, and it's going to come at some point.
Well, so that's good that they're not crazy busy, because that means everyone's kind of staying away. And
yeah, I think so too. I mean, I'll check the bypass status board, and it hasn't been ridiculous lately. It's been they've been okay. They've Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, they're like perpetually on bypass, so that's no surprise there. But everybody seems to be okay. The nursing staffs are they're doing what they can, but I think people are staying out of the hospital for the most part, which is good. At least I know in my Still district, a lot of our population is elderly, and we have a lot of institutional type buildings in my Still district, and they've pretty much shut down from outside visitors. They're asking people to stay away. We take precautions when we go in there too, just in the event that we have something on us. I think that's just an important thing to remember too, that's a danger that we're bringing things into these buildings as well. But yeah, I think we're doing we're doing about as good as everybody can do. We're the administration's preparing that at some point we might lose up to a third of the workforce if a lot of us start coming down with this, because we're just going to have to quarantine or do self quarantine for 2 weeks and just ride it out. But those are decisions that are made above my head right now. So we're just going to keep on keeping on and wait for this thing to get over with.
Yeah, and I know mine plan for worst case scenario. Of course, they didn't tell us what worst case scenario is, which is fine by me. But that's what a lot of people in the administrative part is. They're trying to plan for this, and hopefully we stay where when this is over, we're like, oh, no big deal. That means we probably did everything right in ahead of time. I give you an example. I've got actually a crap ton of nursing facilities in our first due. But one of the places, there's one that's real high end, and it was one of the last surviving nurses from Pearl Harbor that I met probably 6 years ago. So it's just fun stories you have, but the whole point is like there's old people that we could be bringing stuff to them and to not only think of just us and bring home their families, but we don't want to be spreading it to those places. And what I've seen, at least, I think I have 2 shifts since this has really been going on, and they stopped calling. We weren't going on the lift assist that we were getting at these places, which is interesting. I don't know if they figured it out or people there are like, oh, I guess I could help them. Yeah, it's a nice human being thing to do. It's help someone off the ground. You don't need to be a medic for it. But yeah, something to keep in charge, keep the thought process. Let's not spread to them. And I think what we're seeing right now is a lot of people aren't using 911 like they used to, because they're like, shit, I'm not that bad. I might get worse if I call, sit at the hospital.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing too. It's, I mean, even if you're sick, even if you don't have it, if you go into the hospital, a good chance you're going to get it. So it's if you're already compromised, if you're already very old, the very young, the very infirm, stay out of the hospital unless you like really, really, really have to go there.
Mm-hmm. What's new and exciting? How's lieutenant life?
Lieutenant life is good. It's it has its moments. I'm on the tower ladder right now, so the station I'm in, this is my 2nd year there.
Yeah, that's for you.
You wouldn't have been saying that if you saw the snow falling here on Sunday.
No. I am definitely cold adverse right now. I do not want to be around it. It dropped below 70. I got sweatshirts on. I'm like, what happened to me? But we actually we're doing a Quint concept here coming up shortly. So we're finally gonna have a company officer on a ladder.
Nice.
So it's a nice change for it. But that's always especially if you're running as like a true truck, who wouldn't want to be on something like that?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, we run a jump company in my station, so there's only 3 of us most of the time. So we're either on the medic or on the tower ladder, but the tower's fun. It's nice enough. I don't hate that life. And I'm the 2nd station to get an extra guy. So, I cherish those days off the medic when I do get them.
We don't call that extra. We call that we're functioning at minimum staffing. We dropped in 2009 when we had our layoffs. The minimum was 4 person on every engine, and now we're down to 3. So when we get an extra person today, and senior people are always, and I'm good about it too. It's like, no, that's not extra. That's where we should be.
Yeah.
So we lost it in the negotiation from that awesome city manager.
Yeah. It's tough running a company with 3. On those days I get 4 guys. I'm like, wow, this is nice.
You're a supervisor,
you can actually step back. It was like, who knew? I can actually step back and actually, I don't know, do lieutenant things instead of being on the task level with everything. It's like we just went to we did live burns a few weeks ago too, and I had 4 guys that day too. I'm like, oh wow, this is so nice, not having to hump a hose line or do this. I could actually I don't know, sit back, sit there and like, hey, look at that, go there.
Yeah, it's not often that I have a 4th, but I've had it when I first got made captain. I had four people on a fire, and then opposed to lately, it's always just 3. World of difference. I mean, I'm truly a supervisor, taking a step back off the line, and we actually did have a city council person riding along. He's actually putting in for mayor. But he actually brought it up in the last city council meeting that we need to look into getting 4 on our units because the captains are doing firefighter things. They're not being supervisors. And I was blown away because this is the first time in 17 years that I've been here now that someone was actually a proponent of 4 and increasing our staffing. So that's something that I'm not gonna hold my breath, but I'm gonna cross my fingers on this one. That
It's just a good thing though if you get somebody like that in City Hall, even if they're a councilman right now, even if they don't succeed in their bid for mayor. I mean, it's still good to have that friendly voice in the city council and somebody who can be a proponent for us instead of somebody who's an opponent. And we've all had plenty of that. But yeah, I think for us, it's we're going to have to do a staffing increase at some point. Well, first we need to get caught up with the people that we haven't hired yet, but we need to. Our call volume is just going to justify it at some point too. There's, our building is more and more. We're getting busier and busier every year, so the call volume is just going to justify it at some point.
Yeah, we actually for call volume in the area, we're like probably the busiest per capita. I think we did like 20,000 runs out of 6 houses last year for it. But that's one of the things they brought up. Well, with our chief, pay-wise, we're not. No one gets paid, and it did help keep some of our rescue trucks. So when I say rescue, for us, it's basically an SUV. It's a first-out medical response. It's not a heavy rescue. It's not a squad company. It's just 2 guys in an SUV with air packs, water can, irons, and medical equipment, and their gear, obviously. So I think at some point it did help keep those in service because they're like, hey, otherwise our engines would be so much busier, which we found out years ago. But comparatively, us looking at other departments,